and I wanted to welcome our graduates, their friends and family, our faculty and staff to the 2016 hooding and diploma ceremony for our Master of Science students. Of all the graduation events, the hooding and diploma ceremony is my favorite. The reason for this is it's our opportunity to individually recognize each graduate. It is a celebration of all the hard work that the students have put into earning this degree. And so since it's a celebration, I think we should recognize our graduates for their hard work with a round of applause. Although our students are the focus of this celebration, I know that our students would like me to recognize the support provided by friends and family to make their graduate studies successful. And I would ask our students to show their gratitude to all that supported them in their education. So in today's ceremony, as I said, it's a hooding and diploma ceremony. Most people are familiar with getting a diploma as a recognition of academic achievement. But the hooding ceremony is maybe less familiar to many of you, and so I wanted to speak for a moment on the tradition of hooding as an outward symbol of academic achievement. It actually goes back to medieval times, when in many cases a gown and a hood were needed in order to keep warm, and that the differences in the hoods were used to represent the various disciplines and various universities of a person's academic endeavors. And so the Master of Science students are going to receive a hood with a yellow collar. You'll see there are a variety of different collars from our faculty. Many of them have a blue collar. The blue typically represents philosophy, their PhD in philosophy, or doctorate of philosophy. But the Master of Science students receive a yellow hood indicating their science degree. And then inside the hood, you see blue and white chevrons representing Duke University. Those of us that graduated from other schools will have hoods of different colors representing our alma maters. So throughout this weekend, you are going to see a variety of different collars and chevrons. And so appreciate the diversity of academics here on campus, as well as the fields of study that people have taken. So as graduates in the Master of Science program at Duke University, we want you to wear your hoods with honor as a symbol of your advanced degree. And so at this time, I want to call up Professor Fan Yuan, who's going to present the Biomedical Engineering Excellence in the Master of Science Studies Award. Thank you.
Good morning. It's my great pleasure to announce the recipients of the Biomedical Engineering Excellence in Master of Science Studies Award. This year's recipient is Tushar Krishnan.
At this time, I'd like to ask Dean George Trusky to address the graduates.
Thank you, Brad. First, I'd like to offer my congratulations to all of you master students receiving your hoods today and your diplomas. This is an outstanding achievement of probably 2 years of work. You've all been here at different amounts of time, but it's all been, I think, well-deserved. You spent many hours working on problems, working in teams on projects, working harder than you probably thought you ever could. But I think you'll find that this has been a worthwhile endeavor, very much so. Because, first of all, there's never been a more important period in time and where there's been more demand for professional engineers. The undergraduate degree in engineering is sort of an introductory degree in engineering, and we don't necessarily consider it a professional degree. But in the master's ranks, both the Master of Science and the Master of Engineering really do reflect professional endeavors in engineering, and you should feel proud of those accomplishments. You've really deepened your knowledge, you've completed advanced study in your field, and you've developed a skill set to identify and solve complex problems. Importantly, you've also learned a number of key ways to think about problems. For example, if you want to solve a really big problem, and no Duke graduate does not want to solve a big problem, you realize that the only way to do that is to really break it into pieces. The big problem itself could be so challenging and daunting, you may never solve it. However, if you start to look at a problem, you'll see that there are little components you can break it into, and you've done that in many of your courses, and that you get a great deal of satisfaction when you solve a piece of that puzzle and see how that solution could then lead to a larger solution for the bigger problem. Many times you'll be told that this problem cannot be solved, okay? Well, that's because people haven't thought about it properly. And hopefully one of the things you've learned from your education is that by reframing a problem, you can look at a problem in different ways and approach it in ways that people have not thought about. And one of the ways that that can be very beneficial is working on teams, especially teams where people are coming at it from very different perspectives. Getting lots of ideas, bringing them together, being open to these ideas, and sometimes the crazy idea that hits you at first may actually turn out to lead to an interesting solution. So be open to many different solutions and opportunities. Sometimes learning about what goes on in a different field can be very informative, and feel free to borrow from those other fields. And then, most importantly, in all you do, place the public good above all else. As engineers, you're really entrusted with a great responsibility. You've had this education, and you have a unique ability now to work on some really challenging problems that society faces. And as a result, society does place a large expectation on you to uphold the integrity of your work and ensure that what you design and produce is safe as well as effective. And we've heard many stories about how engineers have, in companies, brought out problems with products that can be fatal. So don't be afraid to step up. Sometimes that takes a lot of courage, but please do that. As you leave Duke to explore new opportunities, you'll find your skills and experience are very much in high demand. And there are many pressing challenges to address. You've been prepared, as few others, to solve these complex problems facing our world today. Some of the problems which you may have already worked on, and which you may certainly work on in the future, are developing low-cost photovoltaics, so solar power can compete with carbon-based sources of energy. This is a really pressing challenge. Designing novel batteries so electric cars can be a reality for millions. Rebuilding our infrastructure for water, electricity, and internet connectivity. I think we've heard in the past few months all the challenges with our infrastructure and how small lapses in decision, overlooked processes can lead to pretty disastrous results. You'll be able to develop new ways to grow foods and use even less land and less water to feed more people, develop affordable medicines and healthcare, cure chronic diseases such as cancer, Alzheimer's, and heart disease, designing new ways to store, translate, and analyze information. Okay, these all sound like daunting challenges, but I know you're capable of working on them, and I hope that many of you do. The list goes on and on. There's no shortage of work for engineers. Some of these problems you may not even think as engineering problems, but in the heart they are, and you're well qualified to tackle them. Duke graduates are never shy about addressing the big problems to make the world a better place. Graduates of our master's program have gone on to start companies, rise to leadership positions in corporations and in the government, lead project teams, and work in countless fields, and ultimately to engineer positive change. As you prepare to graduate and take the next steps of your career, I ask you to remember several things. First, most importantly, to realize that the technical problems cannot be addressed in isolation. And hopefully you've seen that in many of your courses and your projects. Often cultural, social, economic, and environmental factors influence the solution. And that if you don't factor those in, your solution may not be adopted. And that's very critical. So it's really important to see how those non-technical features influence your solution, and you address them in your solution. And if you do that, you will have a desirable and durable solution. The next suggestion I have, actually, I heard last night from Adam Silver, who's the MBA commissioner. He's one of our trustees, who had addressed a senior class. And he actually paraphrased a statement from Coach K, which is next play. I don't know if you've heard about that. Coach K may talk about it tomorrow. But what he means by that is that Many times on the court and in life, decisions won't go your way. You may say they're unfair, they're unjust, but you notice how often Coach K will talk to the refs after a bad call. But I think you'll also notice how many times the ref has changed their decision. 0. So life won't always go your way. You need to learn from that, but then you need to move on. So next play. And then, lastly, it's important to give back. Chances are someone helped you get this education. Your family members, parents, friends, or Duke itself. You've had encouragement and support of friends, family, fellow students, and faculty. So your own education is, while your own drive and ambition got you to where you are, you had a lot of help in getting there. And so as students, you've worked on teams and learned that the ideas and exchanges of ideas help motivate you and produce new ideas. So remember this and offer to provide your experience to others. And I assure you that by giving back, you can find it very rewarding. And this act of support will be felt by many others. So I'm glad you chose Duke, and I know you're prepared, that Duke has prepared you well to address the major challenges facing the world today. I wish you well in those endeavors and look forward to hearing of all your accomplishments. We hope to have you come back. We will be in touch with you in many ways, but we want you to keep in touch with us. We would like our alumni to come back and talk to our students, to tell them about their life experiences, and so. But before you go out into the world and change it, let's begin the hooding portion of our ceremony.
It is now time for our Master of Science graduates to receive their hoods from their respective departments. We will begin with the Master of Science in Biomedical Engineering. Please stand and come forward to be hooded by Dr. Fan Yuan, and then accept your diploma from Dean Trusky. Jean Huang. We have plenty of time. They usually do, yeah. Jonathan Repper. Stacy Kuo. Tushar Krishnan. Will Huffman. Nicole Verdone. Jasmine Roddy. And now for the Master of Science degree graduates in Electrical and Computer Engineering. Please stand and come forward to be hooded by Dr. Drew Hilton, and then accept your diploma from Dean Trusky. Wankwun Ju. Lauren Bonga. Shruti Preetham. Hong Jin. Diyu Jiao. Xiaoyi Han. Weidong Duan. One Wo. Wani Fu. Draw Jia. Jingxiong Wang. Wenting Hu. Xiao Tong. Yuzhou Sun. Guaoshan Liu. Xin Lu. Hao Wu. Shuai Yuan. Hao Li. Miles Oldenburg. Jianchong Li. Weichong Ning. Shuai Fu. Mingming Lu. Wei Chi Wei. Kevin Shawbrick. Ying Zhao. Chin-Fei Hu. It is a celebration, isn't it? Yuan Fong. Jackie Sun. And now, our Master of Science degree graduates in Mechanical Engineering and Material Science, please stand and come forward to be hooded by Dr. Piotr Marzelik, and then accept your diploma from Dean Trusky. C.E. Zhong. Shuasha Wong. Konggon Lee. David Rosenberg. Shagun Mahashawari. Please join me in congratulating our 2016 Master of Science degree recipients.